Hey y'all, it is April 19th. Happy birthday to Van, my brother. Anyway, I'm doing a night video. I gotta go to the phone shop and put my thumbprint in, so that's important. Anyway, so I thought tonight I would talk about myself or some of the decisions that I made, and I talked briefly about my weirdest job being the Navy. And most people, when they meet me, have a hard time imagining why and how I joined the military. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight, kind of the reasoning, the logical steps that occurred in my life to make me join the Navy. So it began with a girl. Of course it did. So I was 20. Yeah, I think 20. Yeah, 20. And I was lovesick with a lady in college. And I just thought she was the world. She was the first woman I lived with in my dorm room. And it was wonderful. And as wonderful it was going up, coming down was even worse. So I went home for the summer, and she said she would visit. And we talked on the phone every day, we wrote emails every day, and then around June 20th, I woke up and I called her, there was no response. And I got worried and crazy, and I went into a bit of a depression. And my best friend Aaron, what's up Aaron? He came over to my house, he lived just next door in those days of old. And he said, Stewie, we got to get you out of here. He says, I'm going to ask my dad to get us on a shrimp boat, and we're going to go shrimping for the summer. And I just said, take me away. And he came back a few days later and said, we're going long line and fishing. So we left a little bit before the 1st of July. This is like around 2003. And so we went long line fishing for about 2 months. And so I talked about that as my best job. So we went fishing, and just like Forrest Gump, I kind of made my peace with her and her decisions, and she didn't want to talk to me, then I just would have to respect that. And I'd always liked the sea, but during those 2 months, I just fell in love with the sea. So that is the first part. Flash forward about a year and a half, 2 years later, and it is the Christmas before I graduated from college, so around Christmas 2003, and my father and I are driving on the way back from Best Buy to pick up some things, and for some reason I'm driving one of my dad's work trucks, and he looks at me after an eerie silence and he says, how much money do you have? And I told him I had about, $600 or something. And he says, do you have a car? And I looked at him and I said, I don't have a car. And I said, oh, something's up. And he said, how much money are you going to be in debt when you graduate in 4 months? And I said, like $36,000 or something. And he said, do you have any internships or plans for the future about where you're going to work? And I said, nope. And then he said, now let me get this straight. You don't have no car, you don't have any money, you don't have any plans for the future. And while driving the car, I said, yep. And he says, boy, you need to figure that out. My dad doesn't sound so twangy, but that's the way it was. So I said, okay, Dad, I'll figure it out. And we drove for about 2 minutes, and he goes, no, you need to figure it out now. And I said, okay. My dad said, all right, let me help you out. Let me help you out, son. So what do you want to do? I said, well, I want to travel, and I want to see the world, and, expand my viewpoint. Maybe I didn't say that exactly. And he goes, okay. I was like, do you want to pay off your student loan? this is a good question. This is a good question. He asked this. I said, yes, I want to pay it off. He said, do you want to pay it off now or later? I said, I want to pay it off now. He said, good. So you want to travel, he said, you want to pay it off, and what do you want to do? What do you want to do? And I was like, well, I want to go to grad school later, but I don't really feel prepared to go to grad school. He said, okay, so you want to go back to school, you want to pay off the money, and you want to see the world. And really, he said, I only know a few things you can do that. One is the Peace Corps, the other is the military. And thought about it long and hard, and I said, Dad, I'm joining the Navy. And he said, okay, son, I'll hold you to it. And he said, don't tell your mother, of course, never tell your mother, because you don't want to worry her. Anyway, I got home from driving, and suddenly the world just kind of fell into place. I weightlifted off my shoulders, and when I went back to school, I was dating a Korean girl at the time, a wonderful woman, and hello Ju, I'm pretty sure you're not watching this, and I told her, and she cried, and she's like, no, the military is going to change you. Well, everything changes you, but she thought it'd be like horrible, horrible change, and that was about it. Now, going into the Navy, that'll have to wait for another walk, maybe a really long one. So that was it, the conjunction of spending a summer on a fishing boat with the captain, Captain Barry. He was an ex-submariner from World War II, and he was the saltiest man I've ever met. We dropped off our first shipment of fish just there at the mouth of the Mississippi, where it looks pristine. There isn't any there isn't any walls or buildings or electricity, and there was the slab of concrete there. And there's a guy with trucks. We just unloaded the fish, and we just sat there in the bayou thinking, this is amazing. This is absolutely beautiful. And me and Aaron are sitting in the whale house, and we're just taking in the splendor of the bayou and the Mississippi. And Captain Barry says, it's beautiful, ain't it? And we say, yeah, it is, Captain. He goes, yeah, it makes you want to pump out the bilge and fuck it up for everybody. And we looked at him, and then he just started cackling like an insane man. Because when you live on a boat by yourself long enough, that is what you become, an insane person. So, that is pretty much how I joined the Navy. Now, I did pay off the loan in about 3 years, and I did go to grad school. I also got a second degree, bachelor's degree in history. So, it worked out really well. And I still have about, why are you honking? I still have about 4 months of education left, which I hope to use to get my PhD. So GI Bill is working out pretty darn well for me. So that is the tale of how Stuart became SH3 Shannon. Have a good day, guys. Good night, y'all.